Good evening. We continue to get reactions as to what could have costed Kenya the African Union Commission chairmanship. Of course, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga taking the lead the first round, but unfortunately, tables turned to be something else. And as reactions continue to trickle in, a majority of Kenyans would want to analyze, would want to speculate, looking at the numerous counts that would have costed us this particular seat. Some of them saying it is the supremacy battle between the Anglo and the Francophone. Some as well arguing that it was the united aspect of the Arabic and equally Islamic states that, of course, got Mohammed to win this particular seat. Indeed, the religion bit also counting a huge deal. And also others say that perhaps it could have been the age and the statesmanship and the political status of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga that costed him that particular seat. But as many would argue, this is not a loss just for the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, but for the country. This is what we'll be looking at, and so much more that we continue to line up for you right here. Comprehensive coverage, of course, taken care of by the editorial team right here on TV47. It's always a pleasure doing this with you. This is TV47 Weekend Edition. My name is Linda Alela. I'll be assisted on the sign language interpreter's side. Alongside that is Catherine Simaloi. We have lots lined up for you. Let's take a look at the highlights. Tonight on TV47 Weekend Edition, after leading in the first rounds, just how did Kenya lose the AUC chairmanship? We look at the intrigues and the reasons behind the loss. Also, after the loss at the AUC, what's next for Raila Odinga and what's next for Kenyan politics? And Baringo Senator William Cheptumo dies at 57 while undergoing treatment at Nairobi Hospital. Let's have a look at his legacy. Ministry of Health raises concern over the alarming rise of substance abuse among the youth in the country. And the weekend edition begins right away. It's that Sunday of To The Point, and this matter of the AUC, that is chairmanship, is what we'll be unpacking alongside Apollo Kamau. He's on standby, that is in Ethiopia, at Addis Ababa, of course, just to continue to tell us what it is that the reactions are, even as the heads of states are locking down or perhaps winding down their trip, that is to the African Union, that is for the African Union Summit, the 38th one. And now we cross over to that beat where the Right Honorable Raila Odinga says that President Ruto supported him genuinely in his AUC bid. Raila, while conceding defeat, said that he walked his head high after losing to Djibouti's Mahmoud Yusuf in the 7th round of the AUC election last night. Joash Onsari begins our bulletin by unpacking this.
In his conceding speech, Raila Odinga said he does not regret anything after losing to Djibouti's Mahmoud Ali Yusuf.
So there will be a lot of blame games that are going to be played. People are going to say, oh, it is because, BAMBA did not do as much as he expected. Oh, it's because BAMBA is now tired, because he's too old. All sort of things. That maybe because those people used more money than they used.
Yusuf won 33 votes in round 7, the last round of voting. Raila had taken an early lead in rounds 1 and 2, securing 20 and 22 votes respectively. Odinga now saying he will still go ahead with a celebration plan that was planned for Monday, regardless of the outcome.
So we are here where we are, but let us not regret. Not time for lamentation. On Monday, they had organized a prayer meeting for me at the Bomas of Kenya, the women, orange women. And I told them, we go there, we win, tukishinda, to celebrate.
Raila, who has lost 5 attempts to be the country's president, however, says that President Ruto genuinely supported his bid amidst blames from a section of Kenyans. President Ruto has been leading the Raila AUC campaign across Africa.
I am disappointed that Raila Amolo Odinga did not win, because he was the best candidate. And I have a regret for Africa that they missed an opportunity to be served by the finest.
Oh, Ruto just wanted to humiliate BAMBA. It was not genuine in saying that he was supporting him and so on and so forth. But I made the decision myself and announced that I wanted to run for this position myself. Ruto only came and said he was going to support me when I really met.
BAMBA made me very proud. He was the best candidate that we could put forward. He was available. Whenever I booked an appointment, he was there.
Over 100 Kenyan leaders flew to Addis Ababa for what they termed as Baba's big moment. His opponents are now questioning the amount of money spent in the campaign.
They gave me all the logistical support that we needed. That enabled me to travel around the length and the breadth of the continent, and made an appointment for me to meet all the leaders around the continent. And I met all of them. And actually we were sure of win. But as I say, other factors have come into play. And those factors are going to come out and will be known.
And one thing came out clearly, that if there's a country, if there's a leadership, if there are people who want to anchor democracy, these two gentlemen have displayed it to the African continent.
Raila says he was sure of a win. Joash Onsare, TV47.
Thank you, Joash. And Raila Odinga's failed African Union chairmanship candidacy was a double-edged sword that not only exposed the underbelly of Kenya's diplomatic standings, but also seen to change the country's internal politics ahead of the 2027 general elections. Pundits opine that Odinga's influence is still a crucial determining factor to shaping the country's future, as Moige William details.
In his conceding message, former Prime Minister downplayed criticism towards President William Ruto over his loss of African Union chairmanship bid to Djibouti's Mohamed Ali Yusuf. Odinga further stating his eyes are now focused at returning back home, adding there is a lot to be done. Pundits opine this signals political alignments and realignments in the country in the near future.
There will be another time, and there are so many other things that are available for us to do.
And it is going to change against William Ruto. And, of course, the Kenya Kwanza. That is how Kenya changes. Yes, it is. It's so quick. It's like this. And I think that's what makes us happy. That's why sometimes we look hell.
Raila's flopped run came at a time of significant political atmosphere in Kenya. President Ruto's support for Raila once underscored a broader complex internal political landscape.
There will be a lot of blame games that are going to be played. Oh, Ruto just wanted to humiliate BAMBA. It was not genuine in saying that he was supporting him and so on and so forth.
The former Premier's stab at the AUC chairmanship back home is already eliciting mixed reactions, but also brewing the unprecedented political turbulence. Experts opine the turn of events in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, will greatly influence the country's 2027 politics.
Tutaungana pamoja na watu wa ODM, tutaungana pamoja na watu wa Kalonzo Musyoka kuhakikisha ya kwamba William Samoei Arap Ruto 2027 hautakuwa rais wa Jamhuri la Kenya. Tutakung'atua katika hayo mamlaka.
Already Raila is receiving congratulatory messages even from unlikely figures such as the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, taking to his social media platforms where he welcomed Raila back home while subtly taking a swipe at his now political nemesis President Ruto with part of his statement reading. And I quote, "Indeed, we Kenyans, your beloved brothers and sisters, have unfinished business with you as the coveted son, as we unshackle our country from recklessness." End of quote. Though many had termed the race as Ruto's 2027 card, the president says he regrets that Africa lost a good candidate in Raila Odinga. President Ruto added, and I quote, "This election was not about individuals or nations. It was about Africa's future." End of quote. The president says that the future remains bright and together Kenya will continue working for united, prosperous and influential Africa on the global stage. Former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka's political allies have urged Odinga to support the Wiper Party leader's presidential bid in 2027 polls.
I just want to thank our president, I want to thank our former prime minister and those who supported our candidate. And even if we did not succeed, I think we came out strongly.
So we are asking our brothers also from the Nyanza region to also be faithful to us and support us, because His Excellency Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka anaomba kiti ya rais yake.
Tunamwalika Raila Amolo Odinga arudi katika taifa letu la Kenya, akuje tushikane mkono tuweze kukung'atua katika mamlaka.
Already perceived as a kingmaker in the upcoming polls, Odinga's trace seems full already, even before his return to the country. Some at the top of the list could include who are majority, minority in parliament. On February 12, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula ruled that Kenya Kwanza is the majority in parliament, after a high court on February 7 ruled faulting Wetangula for declaring Kenya Kwanza the majority side. But before Odinga jets back to the country, the blame over his loss continues.
And I place the blame squarely on Raila, on Mheshimiwa William Samoei Arap Ruto, who was a chief campaigner. Alikuwa na nia yake nyingine pengine kwamba akimsukuma Raila basi atakuwa na easier time.
Tumeona ukiwa mfisadi, ukiwa muongo, na kama umeweza kudanganya wachungaji, umeweza kudanganya wa Kenya, umeenda ukadanganya Raila Amolo Odinga ya kwamba atapata kiti ya AU ambayo hakuipata.
Djibouti's Foreign Affairs Minister Mohamud Ali Yusuf snatched victory for the AUC chairperson seat in the 7th round, garnering 33 votes after Odinga was dropped in the 6th round. Mwege William, TV47.
All right, away from the chairmanship or perhaps the elections of the chairman, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has called on African nations to stand with Palestine amid the ongoing war in Gaza. His appeal comes as the United Nations intensifies efforts to push for a two-state solution as a way to end the crisis. However, this development could have wider implications, especially on the African Union Commission AUC elections, given that President William Ruto had earlier declared his support for Israel.
The escalating conflict in Gaza dominated the Africa Union Summit in Ethiopia on Saturday. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says a resumption of hostilities must be avoided at all costs, as the Palestinian people have suffered for far too long.
I welcome efforts by the parties to abide by the ceasefire agreement and urge action for a permanent ceasefire and the release of all hostages.
Guterres has also reaffirmed the need for a tangible, irreversible and permanent progress towards the two-state solution, which is an internationally backed formula for peace between Israel and Palestinians.
Israel and Palestine living side by side in peace and security.
What's, however, keen to observe is the mood at the summit when Secretary General Antonio Guterres weighed in on the Israel-Palestine war. It was quite evident that the summit was largely occupied by pro-Palestine heads of state, something that might have influenced the outcome of the AUC elections, considering President William Ruto has in the recent past declared his full support for Israel, not forgetting his statement in June 2024 when he endorsed former US President Joe Biden's roadmap to end Israel-Palestine conflict. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has expressed his gratitude to African leaders for rallying behind Palestine as they seek for a ceasefire and humanitarian assistance at the time when the Palestinian nation is fulfilling its mission at the Gaza Strip.
On behalf of the Palestinian people, who have a great deal of esteem to the people and the leaders of African states, we are proud of our friendship with them.
The Palestinian government has stood firm, rejecting the deportation of the Palestinian people from their land, saying the deportation order will escalate the violence in the region.
In this regard, we hail the positions of the countries that rejected the calls for deporting our people from their land and stood by our side to defend their rights.
On Saturday, masked Hamas militants handed over 3 Israeli hostages to the Red Cross in Gaza's southern city of Khan Yunis as part of the 6th hostage prisoner swap under a truce with Israel.
It is an illusion for people to believe that they can have a new century agreement.
The Gaza war began on the 7th of October 2023 when Palestinian militants attacked Israel, killing 1,143 people, mostly civilians. Israel responded by bombing the Gaza Strip and launching an invasion that has killed more than 43,000 Gazans. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47.
Thank you, Liz. Now, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has called or is calling on former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and President William Ruto to continue working together in unity and move Kenya forward despite the dashed hopes of Raila's AUC chairperson bid that is in Addis Ababa. The DP spoke at a church service at Ntemwene MCK Church in Imenti South, Meru County, where he urged the two leaders to unite for the betterment of the country. Chichi Josephine has the details of that.
Speaking at the ordination ceremony of Stephen Mawera on Sunday, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki urged former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and President William Ruto to unite and continue to move Kenya forward.
We just want to ask that the President and the former Prime Minister and all the leaders will continue working together to build the unity of Kenya, secure peace and stability for our country.
His sentiments comes at a time the Azimio coalition is now demanding the majority slot in Parliament after the court ruled in its favor.
And even if we do not succeed, I think we came out strongly because we got the support of over 20 African nations, 20 African presidents, more than 20 actually voted for our candidate. And we thank God, hata kama siku yetu haikufika jana, our day will come in future.
Kindiki urged the ODM party leader Raila Odinga and President William Ruto to work together despite the AUC results where Raila lost.
The same way we were working together in that project, even if we didn't succeed, I pray going forward that the President, the retired Prime Minister, and all leaders, present and past, will work for national unity so that we can move the development of our country to the next level.
The DP also urged the church to pray for the nation of Kenya and its leaders, even as the government focuses on fulfilling its campaign promises, advising those criticizing leaders to do so without hatred or discrimination.
Kanisa, muendelee kuombea nchi jameni, because it is only that way that the church can be a strong voice and the church can have a moral authority to correct government when the church itself is organized.
While revealing that he will be holding a meeting with leaders from Meru County, Kindiki assured residents that the government will ensure the completion of all stalled projects in the region.
Tuko na kikao tumepanga na viongozi wenu wote, governor, members of parliament, MCAs na watu wengi zaidi ya 3,000. And I want to promise you we will revive all the stalled projects in Meru County.
Chichi, Josephine, TV47.
All right, President William Ruto has highlighted Africa's growing role as a leader in global climate change solutions. During his address at the Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change, he emphasized the continent's commitment to addressing climate challenges. Notably, he pointed to the Nairobi Leaders' Declaration as a key framework guiding Africa's engagement on this critical matter. Rugaival with the details.
Among the many issues discussed at the African Union's 38th summit in Ethiopia was the impact of climate change on the continent. While addressing the Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change, President William Ruto emphasized the importance of scaling up renewable energy and accelerating Africa's transition away from fossil fuels, urging alignment with the 2023 Nairobi Declaration.
Our updated plans must scale up renewable energy expansion, accelerate the transition away from fossil fuels, and align with African leaders' Nairobi Declaration and COP20 and COP decisions.
Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan voiced strong support for unity among African nations in tackling climate challenges. This sentiment was echoed by Ugandan Vice President Jessica Alupo, who also highlighted Africa's firm stance at COP29, raising concerns over debt sustainability and the high cost of climate action.
Is insufficient to address the scale of the climate crisis, including adaptation needs, and for the loss and damage that is not really going into action up to now.
President William Ruto also acknowledged the challenges global cooperation faces due to shifting geopolitical dynamics. Despite these setbacks, he stressed that COP30 in Brazil will be a crucial moment for advancing global climate action and rebuilding trust among nations. Obstacles such as cuts in aid and policy changes in Western countries, particularly after the rise of Donald Trump, could impede progress. However, African heads of state have been urged to remain resolute in their commitment to tackling climate change.
Africa must remain proactive, defend multilateralism, and demand the fulfillment of international obligations.
Rugaival, TV47.
Tonight, the supremacy between Francophone and Anglophone countries denied Kenya's candidate Raila Odinga victory in Saturday's AUC election. Well, according to analysts, solidarity among Arabic and Islamic states gave Mahmoud Yusuf victory, and geopolitics, especially in the wake of the conflict in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Raila's age, as well as his status as a statesman, worked against him. Is this the case? Of course, as always, from the from the first time we began this conversation on the AUC chairmanship, yes, a tongue twister. And of course, Apollo Kamau has been on standby on that other side, keeping us up to speed, and he is still there. Apollo, if you can hear me, do you suppose that these arguments that pundits are making then hold water? Are they anything to go by now that you've been there on ground and evidently witnessed the process all through?
Good evening, Linda, from AU headquarters here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, where the Kenyan camp is reflecting tonight in the wake of Saturday's loss to Djibouti after Mahmoud Yusuf garnered 33 votes in the 7th round to defeat Kenya's candidate Raila Odinga. Today we caught up with Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi to explain more about this. And when we spoke to him, he told Kenyans to stop speculating, and the country has moved on and Kenya is not bitter.
We are not bitter. We are a Kenyan nation, a member of the AU, participating in the process. And Honorable Raila put up a very good fight in this contest. He didn't win, But he has been very democratic and come forward himself to say, let us move on. This chapter is now closed. And we must now look beyond this. I think we should be looking at the gesture of President William Ruto to speak on the floor and recognize the process, congratulate the victor, and concede defeat in a positive manner. That is the principle of democracy that we are trying to institute in Africa. Kenya never issued an official statement as the government of Kenya to blame the Anglophone and what have you. Let us distinguish between Kenyans airing their opinion and a government position. The Kenya government has never issued a statement, has it? Because we are not in the business of dividing Africa on the basis of Anglophone and Francophone, or the other one, Russophone, which is the Portuguese direction. We are in the business of talking Africaphone.
This campaign from the word go has brought out the rivalry between the Francophone versus the Anglophone countries. And yesterday's vote brought out the fact that Francophone countries were more united in their resolve. Remember, most of the Francophone countries are largely Islamic, and they are mostly Arabic, and therefore they did stand behind their candidate in their resolve to make sure he becomes the next chair of the Africa Union Commission, taking over from the former chair, Musa Faki.
Let's put it this way, I don't think it's Kenya that lost this election. It is the capacity, the background, and the commitment of the candidates that would be more appropriate to talk about when you talk about elections. For one, the candidates have gone through interviews that was quite public. The questions were offered to them and they have answered the questions. The second thing, this kind of elections very often take place on a regional bloc, on the relationship between different countries. So the fact that Yusuf was, one, he is Francophone. Number two, he speaks Arabic, and Djibouti is a member of the League of Arab States. And therefore, this kind of issues tend to play when it comes to the decision-making at the last moment, especially going up to the 7th round. Francophones are very, very serious about this. They had several meetings here in Addis Ababa before the elections. They had even a special grand gala at the Sheraton for the Francophone countries. So this is where elections come to play. And therefore, with a lot of Francophone countries, with a lot of Arabic-speaking countries in Northern Africa especially, that makes a lot of sense that Yusuf could win.
This vote couldn't have come at a worse time for Kenya, given the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which has reawakened geopolitics. For example, we had South Africa versus Rwanda fighting off over DRC. We had President Felix Tshisekedi not trusting this peace process. And then we had that letter from South Africa directing SADC countries to take a common position and vote for Richard James of Madagascar. Now analysts say that might have affected this vote and swung it in the favor of Mahamoud of Djibouti.
Lakini nadhani asilimia kubwa yaliyojitokeza ni yametokana na dynamics za geopolitics kwenye eneo letu. Mfano sasa hivi masuala ya Congo DRC, ukiangalia hayo malumbano, majibizano kati ya Rwanda, Afrika Kusini na Congo, kidogo pale huwezi puuzia kwamba ile haikuathiri mwenendo mzima wa uchaguzi huu.
Apart from the geopolitics on the issue of the DRC conflict, here in East Africa, we are learning that the Democratic Republic of Congo did not vote for Kenya, Somalia did not vote for Kenya, but we understand that Tanzania stood with Kenya to the last minute. And in the final vote, we are told there were 2 abstentions. And those 2 abstentions, one of them was from President William Ruto, and the other one was from Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu.
It could be, to some degree, because Kenya is very much involved in the DRC. I know President Ruto now is the chair of the AAC, the East African Economic Community. The second thing is Rwanda is alleged to be playing a big role in this conflict, and Rwanda aligns itself with the East African community. South Africa is more friendly to the DRC, I guess, but the point is this could be, and also former President Kenyatta was involved in a great...
Tetesi ni nyingi mule ndani ambazo zimechangia, na mimi sitaki kwa Kiswahili nasema kuspeculate, sitaki nizungumuze bila ushuhuda, lakini naamini Uganda ilikuwa inamusupport baba Raila Amolo Odinga. Uganda 100%, hilo halipingiki. Sasa dakika za mwisho hapa dynamics zimebadilika, huwezi jua nchi wanachama wengine kura zao zimeendaje.
The issue that political observers are also watching tonight is how or where this leaves Odinga and President William Ruto as 2027 is concerned. Remember, we had that press conference this morning by MPs led by House Minority Leader, that is in the National Assembly, Junet Mohammed. We had Aaron Cheruiyot leading the Senate majority, thanking President William Ruto for standing with him in this process since the campaigns up until yesterday's vote.
To start with, we want to thank the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency President William Ruto, for the unwavering support his and his government gave to this contest of Honorable Odinga in the AU elections. And in this regard, again, we call upon all Kenyans to prepare to accord His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga a well-deserved, rousing welcome upon his return. His exemplary leadership and sacrifices in the service of Africa are a source of immense pride for our nation.
That's all, Linda, from here at the AU headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia tonight. Back to you in studio.
Thank you, Paulo, for that comprehensive report. While we might want to argue that yesterday's process is water under the bridge, indeed, there's so much to learn from that, hence the need for this analysis. And therefore, we appreciate you for a job well done. We'll continue to loop you in for more updates. But also at this very point, I think it is time that we take a breather. Of course, the first round of TV47 Weekend Edition and To The Point. And then we come back with more as to news. We continue to work on that for you.
Is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's mind. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth, as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50 going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in? I was number 2. What position were you? Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
Welcome back to TV47 Weekend Edition, and to this sad story, Baringo County is mourning the death of Senator William Cheptumo, who passed away after a short illness at Nairobi Hospital here in Nairobi. According to family members, the 57-year-old long-serving politician was previously admitted in hospital before he was discharged 2 weeks ago and was recuperating well at home. President William Ruto led political leaders in mourning Cheptumo, describing him as a dedicated leader who took up his legislative responsibilities with unmatched zeal. Micah Gungu with the details.
The family of Baringo Senator William Cheptumo Sunday afternoon confirmed the passing on of the 57-year-old politician at the Nairobi hospital. According to a family member, he was released from the hospital last week, but his condition worsened and he was readmitted before his ultimate death. Former Cooperatives and MSMEs Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelogui led a delegation of leaders from Baringo County, including Woman Representative Gematia Sergon, Baringo North MP Joseph Makilap, and former CS Helen Sambili in mourning the senator at his current home Sunday evening. Speaking on behalf of family members, Baringo North Member of Parliament Joseph Makilap announced that due to the absence of some family members, full details will be released Monday morning to allow for family consultations.
That allowed them to even have a rest as they wait for the other family members. We are here with the brother of the late Cheptumo, the brother-in-law, the brother of the late Cheptumo, the brother of the late Cheptumo is here, and the entire family members.
President William Ruto mourned Cheptumo as a progressive leader dedicated to public service, praising his tireless efforts to transform Baringo County. President Ruto further described Cheptumo as a vocal, hardworking and a tireless champion for the transformation of Baringo, adding that the senator's family, friends and constituents remain in his thoughts and prayers. Senate Speaker Amason Kingi also paid tribute, noting that the Senate of Kenya has lost a leader who firmly believed in devolution and used every opportunity to advance its cause and the welfare of Kenyans. Cheptumo was first elected as Member of Parliament for Baringo North in 2007 and served 3 terms. He later became Baringo Senator in 2022 on a United Democratic Alliance ticket. In addition, Cheptumo chaired the Senate National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations Committee and was Assistant Minister of Justice, National Cohesion and Constitutional Affairs. He has left behind a widow and 3 adult children who work as advocates. As preparations for his funeral get underway, the body was transferred to Lee Funeral Home in Nairobi. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
May Senator's soul rest in love. Now, the selection panel for the recruitment of nominees for appointment as the chairperson and members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission says it has received a total of 1,848 applications to fill the electoral body vacant positions. In a press release, the panel noted that the 1,800 applications were hand-delivered to the Secretariat at 3rd floor County House building, Parliament Road, and 2 applications submitted through online as PDF file format attachments. The panel says it has commenced the process of verification and will be issuing the long list comprising of all the names of the applicants in accordance with paragraph 3.1 of the first schedule to the IEBC Act. Further, the panel has reassured the public that members of the selection panel are committed to conducting a fair and transparent process. Back to the AUC reactions, and Wiper Party leader Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is blaming the government for the failure by the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga to clinch the AUC seat in Addis Ababa in Saturday's election. Our reporter Willie Dennis Jiru with that.
Speaking at Full Gospel Church, Mwingi, Kitui County, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka says the events witnessed in the country in the recent past had tarnished the image of Kenya's leadership.
This is the other main reason, and I agree with Mheshimiwa Mulungi, the main reason ingine ndio hiyo. Wewe, Raila was not Raila. He was a candidate of a country called the Republic of Kenya. Sasa watu wanaangalia ile bendera ya Kenya inabebwa pale, ni the same bendera watoto walikuwa wanabeba na chupa ya maji na simu kufanya valid demonstrations na wakauawa, and no explanation.
Kalonzo believes that Kenya's response to the conflict in the DRC and the region equally affected the outcome.
Kwa hivyo jambo hili tusifurahie, liko na aibu. Limeleta aibu kwa sura ya nchi ya Kenya. And I place the blame squarely on Raila, on Mheshimiwa William Samoei Arap Ruto, who was a chief campaigner. Alikuwa na nia yake nyingine pengine kwamba akimsukuma Raila basi atakuwa na easier time.
Kalonzo maintains that despite their history, he hoped Raila would win right until the election turned, an outcome that triggered numerous reactions.
And they lobbied heads of state. Kwa hivyo, wanasema nchi ambayo inaua watoto, nchi ambayo inafanya abductions. Kwa mbele ni mbaya sana. Afadhali ile detention without trial because your papers used to be signed, umewekwa ndani.
Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga lost to Djibouti's Mahamoud Ali Yusuf. For TV47, I'm Willie Dennis Njiru.
And the DRC conflict took center stage at the African Union 38th Summit, with leaders from the 55 member states calling for a more decisive approach to avoid escalation of the conflict. And while this was happening in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, M23 rebels announced that they have taken control of Bukavu, the second largest city in the eastern DRC region and at the capital of South Kivu province. This after the seizure of Goma in January, where about 500,000 people were displaced, according to the United Nations. Chaotic scenes were experienced in Bukavu, with reports of gunfire and looting in the town. This as well comes after the M23 reportedly took control of Kavumu Airport, which serves Bukavu, a city of almost 1 million people. The leaders of M23 have now vowed to march on to Kinshasa, Congo's capital and one of Africa's largest cities.
The Peace, Security and Cooperation Framework Agreement that was signed in Addis Ababa in 2013. That peace process led to making sure that M23 and all the negative forces in DRC were virtually inactive for almost a decade, until about 2 years ago when we had the resurgence of M23. So we are looking at the implementation of that particular peace agreement because it's comprehensive, it is very detailed, and takes care of all the actors at national, regional, and institutional levels. So you have the United Nations, the African Union, as well as ICGLR, and various other actors.
Trying to get them together, have one oversight, report to the AU eventually, but we have that. That is why Uhuru is a facilitator from Nairobi, and President Lorenzo was facilitating the Rwanda process.
The Ministry of Health has raised concerns over the alarming rise in substance abuse in the country, as data shows that more than half of drug users are actually between the age of 10 and 19 years. Speaking at St. Peter's Kiambururu ACK Church in Kiambu County, the Ministry of Health Principal Secretary Mary Muthoni called for collaborative efforts to combat drug and alcohol abuse, stating that the battle against the vice can only be won with the combined efforts of all parties that are involved.
Communities are really suffering because of use and misuse of drugs and substance. We are asking for collaboration to preach the good word to the people in mashinani, to get to know the health risks that they pose when they take even smoking cigarettes. When we have passive smokers, when you smoke near children, then that smoke is, the children inhale that smoke and it gets into their body. So passive smokers and active smokers, all in all, it has negative effects into our health. The other thing I would like to say is congratulations to our community health promoters for the great job that they are doing in the communities, in the household.
Still on health, as the world commemorates the International Childhood Cancer Day, the Ministry of Health organized a blood donations drive in various public hospitals as they raise awareness about childhood cancer and educate the community to recognize the early symptoms of childhood cancer. According to the blood unit nurse at Bungoma Referral Hospital, that is David Pamba, the hospital needs about 700 pints of blood every month to meet the needs of the patients. And towards this, hundreds of citizens turned up for the drive as officials called on more people to donate blood to meet the dire need.
We really need blood here. Averagely per month we need around 700 units to serve our clients well. Remember, Bungoma County Referral Hospital serves a wider region, and the blood satellite bank we have here serves the entire Bungoma County and even parts of Busia County, and beneficiaries also from around Matungu area within Kakamega County, and of course it extends up to Trans Nzoia County. The type of clients we receive that need blood here are many, and we really support and thank everybody that has been able to show up and come and support us in terms of donating blood.
We chose children because they are more vulnerable, and the fact that they stand a high chance of cure. And once you cure a child, they have a long life to live. And then they become productive in the society. So the fact that we are going to generate today will be specifically used for supporting children with cancer.
Doing this, we want to ensure that we don't lack blood. All through, whenever there is someone in need, we can be able to provide that blood. So doing this every day and every time, it makes our bank to be full so that mtu asipoteze maisha.
Our clarion call is to just try to mobilize people, donate blood, help those sick patients who need blood, and we can see what we can do in terms of giving back to the community.
Communities are really suffering because of use and misuse of drugs and substance, and most importantly, nicotine products. And right now we have new nicotine products in the market. We have vapes, we have pouches, we have electric cigars that are very appealing even to the young children who are in primary school and secondary school.
Time for business news, and Imarisha Sacco has recorded a remarkable financial performance with a significant rise in key financial indicators for the year ending 2024 of December. The Sacco disbursed 1.7 billion shillings in dividends, an increase from 1.4 billion shillings in December 2023, underscoring its sustained growth and member benefits. Speaking during the annual delegates meeting, Imarisha Chairperson Matthew Ruto highlighted the surge in member deposits, which stood at 17.98 billion shillings in 2024, up from 15.87 billion shillings in 2023. That is an increase of 2.1 billion shillings, translating to a 13.28% growth. The Sacco also recorded a 15.06% rise in share capital, growing from 2.03 billion shillings in 2023, that is to 2.34 billion Kenya shillings in 2024. This reflecting increased confidence among the members. Additionally, its asset base expanded by 12.86%, rising from 21.78 billion shillings in December 2023 to 24.58 billion Kenya shillings in December 2024. And membership growth was also notable, increasing from 215,464 members in 2023 to 233,646 in 2024. That is 8.4% rise.
We've declared dividends and interest to our members. The year under review, the members' deposit rose from 15.87 to 17.98 billion, which shows us a very high, which shows an increase of 2.1 billion. That one can translate to 13.28%. Also, The share capital rose from 2 billion to 2.3 billion shillings, which was a very positive index in the increase.
Our loan portfolio last year was 17 billion. We grew it to 19 billion. It was 17 billion year 2023, and then coming to the close of the year 2024, it was 19 billion. So we grew our loan portfolio by 2 billion.
Sports news brought to you by Maybet. Bet bila stake. Predict the outcome of 8 pre-selected games and win up to 100,000 shillings. Only at maybet.com.
Defending champions Gor Mahia were forced to settle for a goalless draw against arch-rivals Tusker in an enticing encounter played at the Kenyatta Stadium. Both teams were slow off the blocks, with neither capitalizing on their opportunities, as both goalkeepers were called upon to make clutch saves in either halves, with both teams settling for a point apiece. And now, meanwhile, in Gusii Stadium, Shabana FC were left to rue their missed chances as they shared the spoils with Mathare United in a barren draw in Kisii County. Kenya Police currently lead the standings with 41 points after 21 outings and sit 2 points clear of second-placed Tusker.
Na mlinda lango zungumzia mchezaji Dennis Okoth, nafasi ambayo Kongwazia angeuchukua tu mpira juu. Timing ya
Echio Darius Msaga Mnyambo amerudi kwa kasi. Wapo wawili, pigaji ni nani? Msaga Darius! Michael Wanyika again! Walikuwa wamenyanyuka mashabiki wa Sabana, lakini Michael Wanyika akawaambia not.
Darius Msaga aliachia kutoka mbali kabisa, akawaweka kabisa kwenye mechi. Michael Wanyika.
The second edition of the Tujiamini National Tournament kicked off today, with sports pesa pumping a staggering 70 million into the initiative in a deal that is expected to last for a total period of 3 years. The groundbreaking 2-day event, which was held earlier today at the Dandora Stadium, saw Kwale FC crowned champions after they downed Eldoret 1-0 in the final match, thanks to a stunning free kick from skipper, that is Austin Mbogo. And meanwhile, the Galacticos settled for third place after winning the play of a match on penalties. The initiative is part of Sports Pesa's plan to keep on nurturing and growing talent at the grassroots level.
2024 tulikuwa tumeinvest 30 million kwa Tujiamini campaign. Next year tumeifanya more than double, tunafika 70 million. Ndio tuweze ku award more people, tukuwe na more visibility.
Tunafeel poa sana kupata hii ushindi. Tulikuja Nairobi na challenges mob. Ile ukiingia Nairobi lazima upotee, unajua. So day one ilikuwa challenging. Tuka come through, conditions, change of weather nini, lakini zote tumetumia problem zote kutujenga. Sasa tumefeel poa sana kushinda hii tona.
Tunamaanisha kwamba kule kwa talent ziko na zinahitaji support, na tunashukuru pia vile serikali yetu ya kaunti ya Kwale kwa sababu wanatusupport vizuri, na ndio maana ile motisha ambao county government ya Kwale inatupatia tumeweza kuwakilisha vilivyo, na si kwa county pekee yake mpaka pwani nzima kwa jumla.
Austin Sekutwe starred as KCB Rugby extended their winning streak in this fixture to 6 matches. defeating Nonde's 53-8 in a dominant performance at the Ngong Racecourse on a Saturday afternoon. Sekuto scored two tries in the first half and followed up with successful conversations to ensure the bankers head into the halftime with a comfortable 17-3 lead. The second half saw KCB assert their dominance as they totally dismantled the Nondes to ensure they seal a commanding win with a 53-8 scoreline to take their unbeaten streak to 6 in a row.
That was a good game. I can say the players stuck to the script and they played to the last and the final whistle. Kudos to the players today, and it's just for both sides. Nondis, we knew they were going to bring it in the first half, and which they did. And we went during the breather, talked about what wasn't going well. We fixed it, and we have a score, about 50. And for the next week, we meet Oilers. Oilers are also well coached, a formidable side. We just need to go back and look at their videos and review and look at where to hurt them.
All right, we take a quick breather and then we come back with more on sports.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's mind. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth, as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50, going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in? I was number 2. What position were you? Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
And now to the last laps of the TV47 weekend edition, to some more on sports. Little-known Dennis Kipngetich and Damaris Cherono were crowned winners of the second edition St. Agatha Moko Cross Country, the championship held in Elgeyo Marakwet. Now Kipngetich crossed the line with a time of 18 minutes and 14 seconds to win the men's race, followed closely by Brian Keitani, who came second, and Emmanuel Kiplingat, who settled for third. In the women's category, Cherono registered a time of 20 minutes and 23 categories, as Winnie Chepchumba and Cynthia Chepkorir came second and third respectively. The event served as a curtain raiser for the forthcoming Sirikwa Cross Country set to be held in Uasin Gishu County. Hundreds of girls and boys participated in the event as it aimed at sensitizing on talent development in the area.
Nilikuwa nimejiandaa kwa hii race kwa sababu nilikuwa najua mimi nitakuwa winner.
Nilikuwa nimeprepare hii race ya leo. Nilikuwa nimetrain vizuri. Na ilikuwa tu ni train tu vipoa ndio nikuje ni win race.
To the principal of this school, it is the environment is very beautiful for kids athletics, and we'll continue discussing, and will not hesitate to have a camp here. If they are ready to have one, yes, we will talk to the federation, the officials from Athletics Kenya, to ensure that we have a smaller camp here to engage the kids. And I have seen, and we have seen also the number of young ones. We want to have kids athletics, and eventually in May, when we have World Kids Athletics Day, we would like also to have one here.
All right, Wiseman Were Muhobe is a Kenyan-born athlete who has represented the Kenyan flag, or presented the Kenyan flag in the Commonwealth Games, World Athletics Championship, and the Paris Olympic Games, where he qualified to participate in the semi-finals. However, what people don't know is that his journey to the top wasn't a walk in the park. Our sports reporter Boniface Kimanzi caught up with the athlete and takes us through the inspirational journey of this superb Olympian. Take a look at that.
Wiseman Were Muhobe was born on the 13th of October 1997.
I used to saw these guys, great names, doing the Olympics in Tokyo. That was in 2020. I remember there was COVID. So for me, I was like, there's this Ugandan guy, we used to stay together. And I was like, I told that guy, we are watching these guys running, so I think we might be there. So still to work extra smart to see ourselves in the next Olympics. So there's this part of the conversation which we had with this guy, and he told me, I'm doing the 200 and I have to run with no allies. So it hit my mind because then when he told me that, I was like, even me have to run with Rai Benjamin, the likes of Kasen Wahom, the likes of Santos. So I've been seeing these guys running and I was like, it's a journey. I started all along with the 53 seconds, I came 52, 51, 50, 49, now I'm doing 48. So it has been a progress. But regardless that, we had our coach, the one I'm training with at the current moment. He believed in me because he saw that potential, because it's about trusting the process.
Where hails from Kitale in Trans Nzoia County. He discovered his passion for athletics after completing his high school studies in 2017.
When he told me that, I was like, even me have to run with Rai Benjamin, the likes of Kasen Wahom, the likes of Santos. So I've been seeing these guys running and I was like, it's a journey. I started all along with the 53 seconds, I came 52, 51, 50, 49, now I'm doing 48. So it has been a progress. But regardless that, we had our coach, the one I'm training with at the current moment. He believed in me because he saw that potential, because it's about trusting the process.
The athlete had spent most of his high school time playing rugby.
Boniface, Tumuti, Mosheru, those guys go to Olympics finals in Rio 2016. It's possible. It's just the good supporting system which we need. We have to invest. So if the things are done right, I believe the path will be clear and things will happen the right way.
Hailing from humble beginnings, the youngster would spend most of his time running barefoot in his village, but it was not before the COVID-19 pandemic that Mukobe fully developed his passion for athletics.
From lane 1, in heats, I qualified to semis. In semis, I ran in lane 9, just blindly like that. So it has been a learning process for me. So thereafter, I came back again. And I was like, this is how it works. And from previous part, I remember I had these guys we normally meet, we train with my teammates, the likes of Boniface Mweresa, William Ryan, Mokamba, Mike, and me. So we made a relay team that is in Birmingham. And the guys were like, guys, we need to push. And we might end up getting a medal because we're in a good spot. And actually, we had no any other guy who could do a good sub because the other guy was injured. We were only left 4 guys. So regardless, we had to push. And there we got a bronze medal. Even guys were like, how? That's where we ran a 301. And we got a bronze medal 4x4. And here's the medal.
The young warrior was pushed by determination and help of his personal coach as he worked tirelessly to improve his skills, balancing training with academics responsibilities. Little did he know these early struggles were shaping him to become an Olympian.
It might take you time, but you'll come to achieve it. Boniface have been thinking of running these times I'm running this year, last year. I used to think of those times like 4 years ago. I will come to run those times. It took me time to work towards getting these times I'm running today. And I'm not surprised because it was ever in my mind. So before even I was in Olympics, I was thinking of like even running a 47. It's a process. So if you check on the times we run, it's like a career progression. Boniface, you can't come from 1 to 10. You'll come 1, 2, 3 to 10. So if you came from 1 and I'm at 8, I'll get to 10.
Wise men faced tough opponents, grueling training schedules, and moments of self-doubt. However, this unyielding spirit and support from his loved ones kept him going.
I was to win that 400 meters hurdles. 20 meters, not 20, even 10 meters towards the finishing line. I fell down, just down. I will not forget that because I normally watch it and I was like, how? I fell down. I lost the game. The other one, when we got the medal, it was happy for us because we really worked for it. We pushed our bodies for it. During the Olympics, it was good because you saw the opening ceremony, guys were on boats. You saw how everything was. Running on those Olympic circles, because I believe it's another great moment.
2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, where it took the world by storm after he led his relay team to clinch the bronze medal in the 4x4 100 meters relay finals.
If these guys have been doing it, since then, the Kenyans came, regardless of the challenges that came along the way, they disappeared. But I believe Kenyans can produce more hurdlers, good hurdlers, with the right support. We are many hurdlers who run well, but they need good coaching system, good support. Then you will wait for the results.
But that was just the beginning, where and his team worked on achieving a goal to represent Kenya in the Paris Olympics.
From the house to the training, you'll meet a coach. He will tell you, do this, warm up for these 20 minutes, do the workout, because he's there to see you. Because a coach is someone who is making progress on whatever you are doing in that track and field, to see you performing better. Because he gives you the best, so you are the one who to make it come clear. So my relationship with coach, it has been good because I understand my coach. He understands me better when I'm not okay, when I'm not in a good mindset, because he will know today maybe Boniface is not okay.
Whereas story reminds us that determination, hard work and passion can turn dreams into reality.
It was great and it was a dream come true, because for me I was like, these things have just been happening to others. I'm one of them representing Kenya in the 2024 Olympics, and I was like, it's real. So after I qualified, I was like, I knew I had a great task to do. And this when I was like, I have to make a change. I went to Olympics and I performed well. I'm happy for that, and it gave me a good way to do things in the future, because I believe there are guys who are watching on me, I'm inspiring them, and they would like to follow whatever I'm doing to make things right. Yeah, so it was good for me, I can't lie. I'm happy for that, and I'm happy to be an Olympian.
Boniface Kimanzi for TV47.
Sports news brought to you by Maybets. Bet bila stake. Predict the outcome of 8 pre-selected games and win up to 100,000 shillings. Only at maybets.com.
Wow, what a beautiful story of worry, a story of resilience and growth. And finally, that magical win that is not just his, but a win for the country as he continues to carry our flag high. And of course, all this compiled by our very own Boniface Kimanzi. Asante sana for that beautiful piece that closes our evening, or closes TV47 Weekend Edition. I certainly look forward to see you again sometime next week. Nyinyi ambao mmekuwa mkisema wapi mijungu, sisi ndio tuko, but certainly we'll be making sure that you get to enjoy the best of mijungu soonest. So always keep it TV47, because you do not know just what we have in store for you. I look forward to see you again. My name is Linda Alela, our sign language interpreter. On the other side, Catherine Simaloi and the entire team that has made TV47 Weekend Edition a success. Kwaherini.